Hi guys.
Good evening.
Good evening. This is Cinema Club. Tonight we're going to be reviewing two movies.
No, we'll just do one. Take it over, and we'll split them up.
All right. Well, tonight we're going to be.
Fine. Okay, sorry.
Hey, this is Hi. Hey. This is Cinema Club. Tonight we're going to be reviewing one movie. It's called Jingle All The Way. Yeah. Would you mind? We're going to give it the dry sniff test first.
Yeah. So this is a Jingle All The Way, 1986, and this is the plastic DVD case.
Yeah, that's premium.
Premium DVD case. Cassette itself, pretty good. Pretty good body to it. Yeah. Good. So anyways, the movie itself was fantastic.
Yeah, in fact, I would say, without hesitation, this is probably the best movie I've ever seen.
In all seriousness, yeah.
And no, we're not kidding.
Yeah. And we're gonna go through the points as to why we think that.
Yeah. First of all, this movie had both Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad. So I mean, the bar set really high already.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, when you start out with a movie and Sinbad is not in it, that's already points off.
Yeah.
And you'll come to understand our point system as we rank movies. But basically, having a Sinbad in the movie is a big plus.
Yeah. Sinbad just his antics and his off the cuff improv lines, coupled with his wonderful comedic timing, it's really hard to top it. And so when you are able to add that element to a movie, it just, you can't go wrong. It's going to improve any situation.
Yeah, and he's a very family friendly. He doesn't work blue.
Right.
He's a family friendly comedian.
Yeah.
So he's great for a movie like this.
So Sinbad. So the movie is about Arnold Schwarzenegger. So the movie follows in a lot of '90s family comedy movies about a dad who is too busy with his, has his priorities a little bit out of whack, and he's too busy at work, and his child feels neglected. And so the story really revolves around Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to buy the hottest toy, a Turbo Man action figure for his son, so that his son will love him again.
But of course, the Turbo Man action figure is the hottest item of the Christmas season. It's out of stock almost everywhere. And, you get to see Arnold going through all sorts of crazy antics trying to get Turbo Man, which is virtually unobtainable.
Literally unobtainable.
Yeah.
And so, we first are introduced to Sinbad, who is the disgruntled, postman. Postalman.
Yeah.
And who is also in a similar situation. He's trying to get one of these action figures, and so they go. The whole movie is the two of them essentially competing to try to find. They're scouring the city trying to find one of these action figures, and at first their struggle is just pretty down to earth.
They seem like they're and in fact Sinbad introduces it. It's like an everyman struggle.
Yeah.
It's like we're two working class guys just trying to get a toy for our kids. But the movie quickly escalates from this down to earth level to something far beyond reality, sanity, or anything granted on this earth.
They're running through the toy store trying to make it out and get to the next toy store, which might have some action figures. And so Sinbad elbows Arnold Schwarzenegger into a display case of action figures, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger uses a remote control car to trip Sinbad. But then from there things the next big scene is they somehow wind up in a warehouse where people dressed up as Santa Claus are either making, I guess they're making counterfeit toys or they're just selling knockoffs.
To be honest, this is the part of the movie that was given very little explanation. There's a huge warehouse full of people dressed as Santa Clauses and elves making toys. There's very little explanation as to why either this is happening or as to why this is illegal. But there's why this would be an issue. But there's a huge police bust of the Santa Claus factory.
Sinbad is in there too for some reason, right?
Sinbad
is he in?
He must have followed Arnold there.
Because I just remember there all of the Santa Clauses are dogpiling Sinbad, and he yells.
Rodney King.
Rodney King.
Yeah. There's also a great cameo appearance by Paul White. You may know him as the Giant in WCW.
Yeah.
Or the Big Show in WWF.
He plays the big Santa Claus.
Santa with muscles. If you will.
But after that, they find themselves in a radio station that claims they're giving away one of these action figures, and Sinbad first threatens that he has a mail bomb and he's gonna blow up the radio station, and then when the police come, he does it again, and it actually is a bomb, but
he was just bluffing.
He was bluffing. He didn't realize.
But it was a bomb.
But it was a bomb. But instead of killing the dozen of innocent police officers, they're just covered in soot.
Like Daffy Duck was beak is blown off the back of his head.
And I think that was the turning point in the movie, not necessarily in the plot, but in where
we realize that this movie is no longer a tenuous connection to reality. That thin sliver of that has been broken.
Yeah.
We're no longer bounded by any laws of physics, nature, or sanity.
Yeah. And that was the point where I honestly didn't know what would happen next, because clearly anything could happen. And so the movie ends with the final scene is at the big Christmas parade where Turbo Man himself will be scheduled to make an appearance, and somehow Arnold Schwarenegger stumbles into I think he's running from the police, and he just goes in a back door, and they start.
Basically, unbeknownst to Arnold, or Howard as he is called in the movie, he is just slapdash placed into this Turbo Man costume, and he doesn't realize till the very last minute that he is in fact going to be Turbo Man in the parade that his son and wife have been very excited about. Not to mention the sleazy next door neighbor played by Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman, that was great.
He's a divorcee who is trying to seduce all the ladies in the neighborhood, most notably Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife.
And he has great lines. At one point, he says, "Let's see you bench press your way out of this one."
That's right. All right. So, or his great line. So do you want me to help you marinate your ahi tuna? I've got some Italian dressing.
I'm Jordan McLaurin. You might remember me from other pickup lines as, "Do you want me to help you marinate your ahi tuna?" Anyway, the film ends with it really played out Arnold being put into the suit, and they switched to a first-person perspective, and Arnold is just, they never explicitly say, you're going to be Turbo Man, and so they're trying to build it up like it's a surprise, but I thought it was really funny because it's so transparent, it's so clear what's going on, and I can only imagine, maybe there's like I guess it was written for like 6-year-olds to be like what's possibly going on. What's coming next?
And as he emerges from the innards of the parade float, he's clearly Turbo Man does not have a very deceptive disguise. He wears a clear plastic visor, his entire face is clearly visible, and even as he's speaking to his own son,
Yeah.
He has a thick Austrian accent, which is prominent throughout the movie. No part of his face is obscured by the costume, but nobody knows it's him.
Yeah. And so then at this point, everything's pretty good. It seems like they've wrapped up all the loose ends. Arnold's able to give the special edition action figure to his son, and out of the blue.
Yeah. This is where things get really crazy, and so Sinbad. A little bit of background for you guys. In the fictional Turbo Man universe, Turbo Man's arch nemesis is Dementor, who has an exposed top half of his brain in a vat of some sort of liquid. They never really explain what the liquid is, but it's in a dome.
That was one of the only plot holes of the movie.
Yeah.
Or I like to think it was left intentionally ambiguous, but it's safe to assume it's some sort of saline solution.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
formaldehyde.
Maybe it's toxic ooze.
Yeah. It could
Anyways, so Sinbad somehow manages to find him, work his way into the bad guy's costume.
He rappels down onto the float.
Yeah, he shoots. He rides down a zip line.
Oh, that's right.
From the top of the building.
Yeah, from the top of the zip lines down the float.
Yeah.
Kidnaps he steals the little boy's toy.
Or he's trying to, but the boy kicks him in the crotch.
Right in the hoo-hoo.
And real fast. So the whole movie we were watching this, and we were jokingly referring to Turbo Man as Turtleman, and especially with Arnold's accent, every time he said Turtleman, it sounds like Turtleman or Turtleman. And when Sinbad lands on the float, first everybody boos him, and so he does does that a lot, which is great. And then he calls Arnold Schwarzenegger. He calls him Turtle Man several times.
Which is odd because it's been established several times prior to the movie that Sinbad's character knows Turbo Man's name.
Yeah.
He's pronounced it correctly up until this point numerous times.
Well, it seemed like it was almost a stab at Turbo Man. It was a dig.
It's almost a stab at, or maybe it's a stab at Arnold's accent.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Also, when we were initially introduced to Sinbad, he's talking about how this time of year, the highest number of nervous breakdowns occur. Right. Because of the holidays.
Because of the parents who are desperate to get their kids the hottest toy of the year. Because, as Sinbad shows us, sometimes if you don't get your kid the hottest toy of the year, it can literally destroy the rest of their life.
There is a scene there sitting in a diner, and Sinbad is openly drinking, and he's just got his bottle of whiskey on the counter with them. And they do a scene, or they do a shot where Arnold looks at him and he sees his son. His son says, "Thanks a lot, Dad," and then takes a swig of whiskey. And I thought that was really a nice touch. It was. You could. That wouldn't fly today, but
you could do that today. Yeah. It was a special time.
Yeah. It's the 90s, I guess.
But to get back to the exhilarating finale of this movie. Okay, so as we've already spoken, Dementor, aka Sinbad, has stolen the special edition Turboman action figure from the little boy who cannot be more than 6 years old.
He hasn't stolen it yet. He's chasing him up the side of the building.
He's chasing up the side of the building, trying in hot pursuit of Turboman.
He has a great line as they're racing to the building. Sinbad pushes a person dressed up as a Christmas present out of the way and says, "Get away, fox!"
Get away, fox! Yeah,
that had to have been ad-lib. Yeah, and that's some of the charm that Sinbad absolutely.
And that's the type of charm that Sinbad lends to any movie he's in. He's great ad-lib lines. He's a great down-to-earth person, family-friendly comedian, but also totally outrageous. I mean, you never know what's going to come out of his mouth next. So he's in hot pursuit of Arnold Schwarzenegger's son up the side of this building. They climb up a rickety Christmas tree decoration. Even though Sinbad's character is afraid of heights, he is desperate to get this Turboman action figure.
And then he falls off the building.
With the aid. See, at some point, Arnold is wearing the Turboman action figure suit, right, which has all these different special powers, appendages. What you call it?
Most importantly, it's got the jetpack.
He
throws the boomerang.
Which I thought was wanton and reckless endangerment of his own son.
Because his son was
he has no idea how well he can aim that boomerang.
He's never done
Sinbad was 2 feet away from the kid. He throws his boomerang, and he hits Sinbad. But 2 feet away, I mean, how... I don't know. I've never thrown a boomerang myself.
Also, he knew that hitting Sinbad would cause him to fall. But
to plummet to his death, presumably.
Yeah, presumably.
Presumably.
But which Sinbad does fall, but and then somehow doesn't die.
I don't even remember why he doesn't die, but it doesn't matter.
So then
Arnold is he can speak better than I can about his jetpack.
So Arnold has to somehow use this jetpack and save the day to catch his son who is about to fall. And again, Arnold, this is a fully functional jetpack that they outfitted specifically
for a Christmas
solely for a Christmas parade, and yet he flies like hundreds of feet in the air.
Oh yeah.
And then after a couple minutes, it's only a jetpack, and so he's able to get the hang of it and fly it accurately enough to catch his son who's about to again fall to his death. At this point, I remember thinking, the day is saved. Oh, so then they revealed that Arnold's wife goes up and says, "Thank you, sir," and he takes off his helmet and he's like, "You're welcome. I am your husband." And they're like, ugh. They're in shock.
It's completely transparent.
He's been talking. Yeah.
He's been speaking with this thick as Austrian accent the entire time. And there's no facial disguise, disguising at all.
Yeah.
It's just a muscle suit.
Yeah. Yeah. And so at this point the day is saved, everything's wrapped up. I remember thinking, I was like, the only downside is that Sinbad is going to jail for forever. But then, very last second,
very heartwarming, last touch in the movie. Arnold Schwarenegger's son gives the Turboman doll to Sinbad to give to his son.
When his son visits him in prison.
Exactly, because at this point in the movie, if we've not gone over it already, Sinbad has committed several terrorist attacks on the city of Minneapolis.
He literally bombed. He exploded.
He threatened to set up a bomb in the radio studio. He actually set up a bomb in front of dozens of cops. He has tried to kidnap a child
in front of probably
millions of people televised. I mean, this guy is going to jail for a long, long time. So this kid needs more than Turboman.
Yeah. So all in all, it's
you guys. Do you see how exasperated Arnold looks in the cover of this movie? You can imagine why he feels that way now. I mean, knowing everything he's gone through the course of this movie. And to be honest, it's all worth it because if I'm going to level with you folks, this is one of the best movies I have ever seen. And am I wrong?
No, and I think that's why we are going to give this 12 out of 12 Jingle Bells.
Yeah, I'm going to
solid.
It's 12 thumbs up.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think this is going to set. I know we're going to review a lot of movies, but I think we're going to set the bar really high with Jingle All The Way because this is going to be hard to top.
Yeah.
This is a great movie.
Yeah. Alright. Okay, until next time.
Yeah. Jingle All The Way.